Hey guys, Damon with Guards Lawn Maintenance here. I just wanted to do a quick video. I have been seeing a lot of people asking about owning versus renting specialty equipment. So whenever I say specialty equipment, what that's talking about is aerators, machines kind of like that you only use a small time of the year. And so I just kind of wanted to get into the weeds and figure out, should we be buying or should we be renting? So I did a little bit of math, and based on conditions here in the Kansas City area, we get about 8 weeks a year that it's really prime aeration season. Sure, you can do an aeration any time of year, whatever, that's not important, but just for simplicity's sake, we get about 8 weeks of prime aeration per year. So whenever we're looking at owning versus renting, we got to look at a few different numbers here. So during that 8 weeks, we'll use renting for an example. During that 8 weeks, if we end up doing 20 aerations a weekend and we're renting for $300 a weekend, just once again, simple math, in between fuel, let's say you spend $2,500 a year on the rental bill and fuel to go pick up the rental machine. Okay, that sounds like an awful lot of money. Like, oh my gosh, that's $2,500 I could have put towards an aerator. Yeah, it is. But that's a piece of equipment you're only going to use for 2 months out of the year. So whenever you're looking at the cost analysis based on a $15,000 piece of machinery, let's use the Stinger aerator with the seed box for an example, it's about $15,000, give or take, wherever you shop at. So that's not super important. Again, the exact dollar amount is not super important. We're just using round numbers to help simplify things here. So let's say over those 8 weeks, you're doing $100 aerations. Every single aeration, it's $100. You're doing 20 a week. That's $2,000 a week in revenue. Comes out right at $16,000 for the entire aeration season. You throw in a couple overseeds here and there, you're going to make a little bit more. But once again, for simplicity's sake, let's just say $100 aerations, $16,000 a season, and you spend $2,500 on fuel and going to pick up the piece of equipment. So in order to buy that machine, you're going to be spending about $400 a month, give or take, depending on how good your credit is, what interest rate you get, whatever kind of deal Sheffield's running at the time. Say it's $400 a month. You're paying that $400 a month all year long, guys. And it ends up, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. So it's going to take you 6 years of, and that's if you don't increase, it stays a consistent 160 aerations a year, and you're doing them for $100 a piece. You're going to make that $16,000 for 6 years. You're going to spend $2,500, and whenever you finally end up paying what it would have cost to buy that piece of machinery, you are looking at, it's right at $96,000 in revenue, guys, just for doing aerations. So you spent $15,000, you turn that into $96,000. That's a pretty good return on your investment. Plus, you don't have to maintain the piece of equipment. You don't have to worry about anything with it, guys. It's not your machine. If it breaks in half, you take it back in, you pick up another machine, and you go out, you do the work. It's not that hard whenever you look at it on a simplified term like that. And we can sit there and run the numbers back. Eventually, owning is going to be smarter, guys. And You know, it's silly to think that you're never going to grow your number of aerations. Of course, you're going to grow your number of aerations, but you really need to look at, is buying a $15,000 piece of equipment for $16,000 of revenue a year, is that really the wisest use of funds at the time? Or could I spend that $2,500 on a rental bill, spend, you know, whatever extra money I would have been spending on a monthly payment, and could I spend that money on SEO for my website? Could I get a website? That way I can continue to grow. Could I do an every door direct mailer next year, so that way, once again, I can grow? I think eventually you guys do need to buy the piece of machinery. I don't think you need to buy a piece of machinery like that until you're breaking into 3, 4, 5 days a week where you're doing nothing but aerations. You've got that stinger loaded up, you're out there, you're doing aerations literally all day long, all week long. You're not touching a mower, you're not touching a trimmer, anything. You literally are just going out and aerating. That's, in my opinion, whenever you should really seriously start considering purchasing versus renting. If you guys are just doing it on the weekends anyways, you might as well just rent. It doesn't go on your balance sheet. You don't have that monthly payment. Sure, it looks cool on Facebook. Hey, we bought this specialty piece of equipment. Guys, your customers don't care about that. The only people that care is you and me, and honestly, I don't care that much. There may be some people on Facebook, they're going to be like, oh wow, that's so cool, good for you. Look at this great big lawn care company that this guy is building. That's not how it works, guys. People know the truth. People know we're full of crap. You're posting up on Facebook about a cool piece of machinery. That's awesome. You don't ever see people posting up on Facebook, oh, I spent $10,000 in marketing this year. But then you sit there and you look at that company that is spending $10,000 a year on marketing, or whatever the amount ends up being, because they're renting specialty pieces of equipment instead of buying. They're able to free up those funds to use to actually grow their business. They end up, that's the next Perfect Cut. If you're a Corey Ballard fan, that's the next Perfect Cut. That's the next Augusta. If you're a Mike Andes fan, you guys can build so much bigger of a business by keeping your liabilities low, which in that case, that aerator is a huge liability. That's a very expensive piece of equipment, and you guys don't need it. If you're just doing it on the weekends, just keep renting. It's silly to go out and buy that kind of machinery if you can go out and generate the same kind of revenue with a rental piece of equipment. And if it breaks in half, take it back in. That's their problem. That's not your problem. You blow up a tine on it because there's a rock underneath. Depending on the rental place, it's not your problem. They call up Stinger, they get the tine, you know, they end up replacing it. But worst case scenario, say one of these cam linkage things end up breaking on that, and once again, it's their issue. It's not your problem. You don't own the machinery, they own it. So guys, it's just, it's a different way of thinking about business. If you guys want to stay solo forever, if you don't ever want to go past a solo operation, or just you and another employee, if you want to stay self-employed, guys, go out, buy all the equipment you want, because it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You're already dead set on staying solo. If you guys are trying to build up a scalable, profitable lawn care business, you guys need to rent machinery and keep your liabilities to an absolute minimum, especially going into a recessionary period like what we are right now. You guys have to keep your liabilities to a minimum. Don't go out, buy you a brand new truck unless you absolutely need one. Don't go out, buy you, whatever, couple new mowers unless you absolutely need them. Ultimately, it's your business. You make the decision. But if you keep your liabilities low, guys, you're going to make it through this recession just fine. So let me know. Comment down below if you guys have any questions. Just in this math, it isn't very hard to do. It's super, super easy math to do. It just takes a little bit of... just got to use your brain a little bit. I'm not like some sort of mathematician, super smart guy, nothing like that. Just sit there, do the math, run the numbers out, know your numbers, and you guys will build a successful business. Comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. We're growing like crazy. Thank you guys who have already subscribed. Thank you for all the views and the support. Hopefully you find this content useful. If you guys have any questions, send me over a DM on Instagram. It's at Guards Lawns, same as here. You can find me over on Facebook at Guards Lawns, and just we can connect and we can talk a little more about this stuff. If you guys need a little bit of guidance on that, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you out. I'm tired of seeing lawn care and landscaping companies fail because of simple stuff like this. So you guys have a great evening. We'll see you all next time.